Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Wild Yoga Tribe podcast. I'm your host, Lily Allen Duenas. Together, we'll talk about the world of yoga and we'll talk to people from around the world. Join us for authentic conversations about the global yoga ecosystem, and we'll cover yoga philosophies and methodologies along the way. Inhale, exhale. We're about to dive in. Welcome, welcome, welcome to this episode of the Wild Yoga Tribe podcast. Today I am joined by Arti Abhelakh, a yoga teacher and studio owner from Paramaribo, Suriname. She completed her first 200-hour yoga teacher training in 2012 in North Carolina at the Sri School of Yoga. Ever since then, she has been teaching. She also completed teacher trainings in India and Bangalore, including kids yoga teacher training, a 350-hour yoga quality certificate in India called the QCI, and then a 300-hour advanced teacher training course as well. She is prenatal and postnatal certified, and she is also an Art of Living teacher, which she completed that training in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. She now owns the Yoga Peetha Happiness Center in Paramaribo and has built it according to the Vashtu Principles. And it has been blessed by Guruji Sri Ravi Shankar. Arti Center incorporates all spiritual activities, including Seva, Satsang, and Sadhana. So please join me in welcoming Arti onto the show. Thank you so much for being here, Arti.
Oh, thank you very much for asking me, Lily. I feel really very honored.
Thank you. So just for starters, Arti, could you tell us a little bit about your story, how you first got drawn to yoga? What brought yoga into your life?
Actually, when I first went to a yoga session, I had never heard before of the word yoga. So I was actually joining a friend of mine who was going to this course. A course was organized by the Art of Living organization, and there was a teacher from India here. So this friend of mine told me, "Come, let's go to this course." So I said, "All right, let's go." And I stepped in the hall, and I looked at the teacher. It was a lady, and she looked very strict. The first impression, and I was like, "Oh, where am I? What am I doing here?" So, but I took out my yoga mat. I sat down on my yoga mat, and then the course started. And the minute the course started till the end of the course, I thought I was somewhere else, somewhere, I don't know where. I was not on my yoga mat, although I was on my yoga mat. I don't know what happened to me, but I felt so in love with yoga at that very first day. And it was a course of 4 days. I remembered bringing my notebook and my pen along with me all the other 3 days, writing down everything she was saying. So I was not to forget anything about the asanas and the pranayama she was teaching us. I wrote everything out in sequence just to keep it for myself, because I know when this lady goes, I'm on my own. So I had written down everything in my notebook just to keep practicing. And since that day, I never stopped practicing yoga. And I'm talking about 20 years now. And I just kept practicing and doing the same sequences over and over. I'm doing now some variations, of course, and I am doing some advanced poses again along with it. But the basis that I learned in that first day of that course, that still is with me. And that's how I felt in love with yoga.
Oh, I love that story. I love that this one teacher came into your life so accidentally, serendipitously. And then because of that one teacher and all the notes you took, you were able to translate that into a daily practice. That's really amazing. A lot of people, I think, turn then to YouTube or they try to seek other external sources, but the fact that you used all of those notes to continue practicing, I think is really inspiring, Arti.
Yes, Lily, this is very strange that you're saying this because now only I noticed this that I never went looking for more on YouTube or any other social media. I just stayed with my notes from that only teacher, and I waited till another person from the Art of Living came follow. This is very I never stood still by this thing that you just mentioned. No, I never went on YouTube to search for more about yoga. This was actually so fulfilling and so full. It was going through my whole body. This little sequence that this lady gave us during this 4 day course. It was amazing. And this is the same sequence I teach my students right now also.
Wow. So it's one sequence with the art of living. I'm actually not very familiar of it too. So I would love for you to speak more about this sequence and about what the art of living is.
The Art of Living, to start with it's a very big organization. It's the Art of Living organization worldwide. They have reached over 160 countries already with their knowledge and their techniques and their wisdom. And they have reached almost 400 million people around the world globally with their techniques and their knowledge. And the founder of this organization is Sri Ravi Shankar. And he has this one vision, and that is to create a one world family. And this he does by teaching people his primary core knowledge, and that is the Sudarshan Kriya. And with this, also all other courses comes along, like the Sri Yoga, for example. And it is one of the courses he gives. So there are a lot of courses given by the Art of Living organization, and Sri Yoga is one of them. And what makes Sri Yoga actually different than any other yoga style? It is Hatha Yoga, or Hatha Yoga, how you want to pronounce it. But the difference is that Sri Yoga the sequence is made very simple. So all ages can do this sequence. Young, old, not flexible, very advanced people, but also the beginners. They can all jump into one class and do this sequence because it is a sequence that will take you from top till toe. All the muscles we attend, all the muscles, all the joints we attend, and the sequence is very simple. Also, Sri Yoga is different with other schools in that it's beside that it's simple, it's also fun. And that's what we like to have in the class. We would like to have fun because yoga is not a very serious business. It's to be very natural and have that constant smile on your face. And a very important point is that every teacher that teaches Sri Yoga has the grace of the Guru with him or her with her whenever she sits on her yoga mat. And that grace is being felt by the students when they do Sri Yoga. That's, that's a little bit in a nutshell.
It sounds like the Sri Yoga is a part of the art of living. So it's just one of the branches or one of the arms. Is that correct?
It's one of the courses from the Art of Living organization, yes.
Okay. And you said that the grace of the grace of the guru flows through the student during the practice, which I thought was so beautifully said. Does every single yoga student who's doing Sri Yoga, do they go to meet the guru and receive darshan? Is that what you mean by the grace flowing through, or is it more of an unspoken kind of spiritual energy that's connecting?
The second one, an unspoken energy that they can feel. They feel that there is something more present than just me sitting there in front of them. And that is everyone, each one of them experiences this. And this is not because I'm saying it, but because they have told me this. Lily, this is very nice. if we talk about this, because you just mentioned that, oh wow, Arti, you never went looking on the internet and all that. So it's nice to know that learning from books or internet will only give you the knowledge of I know. But learning yoga under a master will make you recognize your true nature, because he will make you experience the knowledge. And that is exactly what happens with all the teachers who teaches Sri Yoga and all the students who follow this teacher. They experience the knowledge about yoga. They just not they're not there standing and doing some asanas and some poses. They go deep within them to find their true self, to find the peace, the balance, the rest, the peacefulness. And that is what that is what happens. And that is beautiful to observe.
So I love how you said, Arti, how when you don't learn from books and you don't learn from the internet, you're learning about your own essence and your own nature. It's a more internal, investigative, or what is that word? You investigate yourself, and by going inwards and by having an actual guru to awaken things in you energetically or through words and teachings, I think you're right, is a completely special experience. So I'm pretty sure you have been around your Guruji, correct? What is that like for you when you're in his presence?
When you sit and you read knowledge and you look at something and you listen to knowledge, it's a total different experience when you are close to your master. Because when you're close to your master, it's beyond words. Because everything that actually was very deep and difficult to understand becomes so easy when you sit close to your master, because his words, they carry his energy, and this energy will come with grace, and the deep meaning of all the words, of all the knowledge, will reveal itself as it is, like that. And you suddenly open up and you receive knowledge on a whole different level. And that is exactly what happens when I'm close to my Guruji, Sri Ravi Shankar. Sometimes I go there in front of him and I have millions of questions to ask him, but the minute I stand there in front of him, I'm totally speechless. No question arises in my mind. My mind is completely peaceful and in balance. And the amazing, wonderful thing that happens is that without talking, all my questions are being answered. And that is how I experience every time when I'm in front of him. I have been with him 4 to 5 times, or maybe 7 times already. And this is an amazing experience. And he can hear each one of us, and that is also so amazing. I can remember, if I have time to tell a little good story. Can I tell a little good story?
I would love that. Yes.
So I remember that I wanted to see him, Lily, because I was also in the ashram in Boone, North Carolina, and that is where he comes every July, when it's Guru Purnima. He comes there to celebrate Guru Purnima. So I also went there to see him. That was my first time, and I so wanted to see him, but there were like thousands, 10 thousands of people were there, and they were there to see him, and I was like, how will I ever come in front of him or see him or speak or look into his eyes if I have to go through all these people? So I was just sitting there in the ashram in Bone. It's a very nice ashram. It has a lot of stairs going up to reach the ashram. And I was just sitting on the stairs, and I remember that day that he was coming, and all these people were running down the stairs, going in the direction of where they expected him to come with his car. And then I thought to myself, I will not run, I will not go, because this is useless. How will I go through the crowd? So I stayed back and I sit on the stairs and I was like, I so wish I could see you. And while I was sitting there, out of nowhere, he suddenly came from the right side, somewhere, I don't know where, but not at all from downstairs where the crowd was awaiting him. He came there with a few people around him, and he just came in to go quickly in the hall, and I was sitting right on his bed. And then I stood up and I said, Guruji, you fooled all those people down there by coming this way. And he said, yes, but you wanted to see me, right? And I was like totally quiet and silent because I know he know what I wanted. And this is just one good story. This is a lot of more happened to me in my life, but also to a lot of people, actually all the people who have been in the Art of Living organization. It's just amazing how he hears you and listens to you. That was my little good story.
Oh, thank you, Arti, for sharing that. That's so sweet and special, and I'm really happy that that happened to you. What an amazing experience, just to feel so seen and heard, and to feel that you got that chance. You were not fooled.
Yeah.
So, Arti, I was wondering about your personal practice. So, every day does your personal practice look like? Because you said you don't miss a day. So, I would love to hear about it.
So every day, my personal practice and starts at 5. I wake up and I do 1 hour of asanas and pranayama. And every day that is different. It's not a fixed sequence, but every day I have a 1 hour sequence of pranayamas and asana. After that, I rest in yoga nidra for a couple of minutes. And then I get up and do my Sudarshan Kriya. Sudarshan Kriya is a very beautiful technique that I learned in the Art of Living organization. It's a technique where you, with various kinds of rhythmic breathing, you bring harmony to your all the different layers in your body. I do that. And after that, I finish. I do my Sahaj meditation, which is also part of the Art of Living organization. It's special meditation where you get your personal mantra. And a difference from other meditation in the fact that other meditations, they will give you rest and peace, and you feel very energized after that. But the Sahaj meditation is a special meditation where you go into all the impressions of your body and you clean your impression. So that is my daily sequence. And if I have more time, I do also my japa. That is chanting. And if I have more time, I also do my Upanayana. That is, it's some also a special program from the Art of Living where we chant the Gayatri mantra.
What a beautiful personal practice. Thank you for sharing that with us, Arti. I appreciate it. And I would love to hear, you mentioned in your bio, or I mentioned when I read your bio, that the Yoga Peetha Happiness Center was built according to the Vaastu Principles. Could you explain what that means and what the principles are?
So there are a lot of principles. It's not to tell in a few minutes, but to tell it in a nutshell to a person who doesn't even know what Vastu is, I would say the Vastu principles or the Vastu knowledge is all about the energies. And it talks about in which directions are the good energies and in which directions are the negative energies. So when you look at the east and the north, they are considered to be the good energy. They give positive energy, got it, positive vibration, while the west and the south are considered to be the negative energies. So this building, this Yoga Peetha Happiness Center, was built according to these techniques. So the front gate is totally located in the east. So all the positive energy can come in. The doors are totally located in such a way that it it all the positive energy can come in. If you look at, for instance, the toilets, they are totally in the south, where all the negative, all the waste goes out. The walls on the south side of the building, there is no window in it, so no negative lightning comes in. Also, the windows are built according to Vastu. The amount of windows that Vastu says that a building should have are built that way, the doors, but also the paint, the roof, how the roof should be built so that the positive energy comes in and the negative energy goes away. But also the plants that are being planted there are according to Vastu principle. The kitchen and the place where the fire should be. We have a little kitchen if you have coffee break or something. So the kitchen is also in the right direction, placed in the right direction. We have the water element in the north direction, the fire element in the southeast direction. So all the elements that we know, water, fire, earth, all space, all these elements are according to Vaastu principles, are placed in their right direction. And that's the way this building is built. So when somebody enters Yoga Peetha Happiness Center, they immediately feel this vibe of positive energy coming through them. And that is what makes it more and the experience even nicer when you are coming there for any kind of seva or satsang or sadhana.
Mm. Yes, that sounds like a lot like feng shui. I know I always mispronounce that word, but it sounds very similar.
It is similar, but it goes much deeper than feng shui. But it's the same thoughts. Yes.
Just in case our listeners haven't heard before ever what Seva, Satsang, and Sadhana are, would you just briefly touch on what each of those mean?
You read my mind, Lily, because while I was saying it, I was thinking by myself, shall I explain this? So, seva in such a way is when you do all kinds of actions without expecting something in return. And this is all called karma yoga. It's one of the paths of yoga, karma yoga. And that is doing any kind of action. It's all about the action that you take without thinking, I need to um, get a compliment for this, what I did, or I need to get something back, or people need to see who did this. So anytime, anything that you do without wanting something back, just to help others, just to make sure that the well-being of others are being taken care of, that is seva. And that is what we also do at Yoga Pit. Sometimes um, we make food for the very poor people, and we start dividing the food to very poor people in the country. But also people from all over, they come at Yoga Pit and they do seva. They start cleaning all the windows. It has a lot of windows and a lot of doors without wanting something. They just want to do seva for the center. That's also seva. So all kinds of seva are there. So that is seva. And then we have satsang. The word satsang itself means you can divide it in two. Sat means true, and sang is in the company of being together with people. So satsang is being in the company of the truth. And you should ask now, what is truth? So when you go to a birthday party or a barbecue party or a beach party or whatever party, it's also nice. You're in the company of people. But when you go back to your house after that party, you usually feel tired or you usually feel not fully energized. But when you go to a satsang, a gathering where there is meditation, where we sing mantras, where we speak knowledge, where we are all in one positive vibration, where there is no no place for rumors or gossip or talking about negative things. but only positive things. When you go home from a satsang, you feel energized. During the satsang, you feel energized. You feel uplifted because the spirit, the soul is being filled with only positive vibration. So that is satsang. We come together at Yoga Peeth. We sing all kinds of mantras. We meditate. We read knowledge, and we just enjoy being there in this positive vibration. And then we have Seva, Satsang, and Sadhana. You asked me how my daily sadhana look like. So sadhana is nothing more than your spiritual practice. Everything that you do that has to do with your spiritual practice, it can be just meditating, it can be your asanas, your pranayamas, whatever is your spiritual practice is called sadhana.
Oh, thank you so much, Arti. I think you described those all so beautifully. And I know my listeners and me as well, we all will appreciate having those definitions with us. So, Arti, I ask this question to almost every guest, and I'd love to ask you as well. What is your definition of yoga? So, if I say the phrase "yoga is," how would you say that sentence yourself?
You see, giving a definition to yoga is, that is actually not possible because yoga can be divine by all kinds of angles. You can say yoga, chitta, vritti, nirodha, saying yoga is bringing all the thoughts in a complete calmness in such a way that you feel balance with your body, your mind, with your breath. You can also say yoga, karma, sukha, kaushalam. That gives another definition of yoga. And that says yoga is being skill in action. Yoga is not about doing the asanas. Yoga is not about doing your pranayamas, but yoga is being in your day to day life, practicing what you learn on your yoga mat, implementing it in your daily life. It's the skill, how you talk with people, how you're involved with situations around you, and how situations around you involve you. So it's the skill to go further in your day to day life. That is yoga. But yoga is also being in a state of balance, totally balanced. Nothing can shake you. So I always tell people what we do on our yoga mat is exactly what yoga is supposed to be in our daily life. When I ask you to stand on your yoga mat in a difficult position, that is exactly, and you need to find your balance. That is exactly what we need to do in our day to day life as a yogi. You have to go through difficult situations in your day to day life. You will face them. Each one of them, we face difficult situations. But how to find your balance in between that difficult situation, that is yoga. That is being a yogi. That is what yoga defines for me. How to be balanced when things go wrong, that is yoga. How to talk to people and implement, that is yoga. So, yoga for me is much more than one definition. I can never say yoga is this for me. Yoga is everything for me. Everything I teach, everything I do, that is a yoga. You know, my teacher once asked me, do you want to be a yogi or do you want to be a yoga teacher? That was the first question I had on my teacher training. And by that time, I just wanted to be a yoga teacher. Who cares to be a yogi? So I said, I want to be a yoga teacher. But the more I started practicing um, my my asanas, and the more I started teaching in the class, the more the knowledge started down on me. The more I realized that I want to be a yogi, because a true yogi, that is what is a yoga. The more you want to become a yogi, the more it will set you free. The more you surrender, the more you will feel the freedom, the peace within you. And the more you will see that everything around you will start happening and the teaching itself will happen on its own. So, yoga is an amazing experience, and not only asanas and pranayamas and doing your sadhana every day, but yoga is also experiencing that true knowledge and implementing the true knowledge that you gain from your yoga practicing in your day-to-day life. That is yoga for me.
Powerful definition, or lack of definition, to say that yoga encompasses everything. I think that was beautiful, Arti. Thank you for sharing, and definitely inspiring to think about, do you want to be a yoga teacher or a yogi? I love that question, and I've never been asked it before. And I think that it's a great one to reflect on, and then also to see how that changes over time. Because, of course, in the beginning, yeah, you want to be a yoga teacher. You want to pass on a lot of the amazing things that you have felt from yoga yourself, the benefits, the peace of mind, the or even just how light your body feels and your mind could feel. You want to translate that and teach that. But I do think that being a yogi for me has always seemed to claim that term. It seems almost intimidating. Like I'm not a yogi yet, like, oh, I'm not far enough on the path, or I'm not practiced enough to say I'm a yogi. How do you respond to that, to someone feeling that way, or if someone wants to start feeling more like a yogi? What advice do you give? Or I'd love it if you could shed some light on that, Arti.
I would just say, just be yourself at this right moment, because if you want to try to be something, the more you will try, the more you will fail. So I would say, just go with the flow and just surrender whenever there is something difficult on your path. Just be yourself, and it will automatically dawn upon you. Try to live the knowledge, and you see, to experience to be a yogi, that is actually to experience the freedom within yourself. And once you surrender and let go, the freedom comes. And once freedom comes, peace can be felt. The moment you merge with the divine in you, you connect automatically with all the people and the environment around you and yourself, and you start feeling peace in every cell in your body. In every cell, you will feel the love and the devotion for the life, for the divine, and only grace will dawn upon you. And this is exactly what will happen if you just let go, and let go in your asanas, but let go in your day to day struggling. And it's easier said than done, of course. But this is where yoga practice helps you. So do not fight with yourself to become a yogi. It will happen on its own. It did not happen with me from yesterday till today. It happened to me over the years. During the years, I start changing. But do your practice every day. Do not stop. That is very important. And when you do this, you automatically will see the changes, and you will be able to reflect on how was I a few years ago and how am I now. If you're not a vegetarian, don't struggle with it. Don't think I can never be a yogi because I love to eat meat and all that. It will happen automatically, because the more you will let the knowledge dawn upon you, the more you surrender, the more you meditate, it automatically will happen that you will become and start feeling one with the nature, with the animals, and eating meat and all that will automatically dissolve. So do not struggle and force yourself into something, but slowly and progressively just go with the flow, and it will happen automatically. That's my advice.
Arti, you sound like a true Bhakta. You definitely have the Bhakti yoga strong in your heart, my dear. Wow. Yeah. It is easier said than done, and to surrender and to let go and to just allow yourself to merge with the divine inside of you. As you said, it just it's really inspiring to hear how true those words are. It carries through your voice, Arti, how you live what you say.
Yes, it's actually not my voice. It's my guru that you're hearing. I keep believing in that.
So I also would love to ask here, Arti, about your yoga shala, about Yoga Peetha Happiness Center in Paramaribo. If someone wanted to come visit or do a training, what are your offerings? I know right now with COVID, things might be a little different. So if you have any online offerings, or in the future when things resume back to normal, what can people expect to find when they would come?
Actually, Lily, we're open again since 1 month now. So people do come for their normal classes, and courses are being held with, of course, taking COVID protocols in mind. But before that, we were giving courses online, and I was just using the hall as my to sit there to give online classes. But now the hall is open, so people can come and do courses again in the hall. Comfort satsang. Of course, we do take registrations because we can have a certain amount of people there because of the COVID. But it, actually, they can just give me a call. I don't know if they can see my number or at the website of Yoga Peetha Happiness Center or the Facebook site. And by that, they can see which courses are coming up or what we have, what kind of events we are planning. But every day there are classes for sure.
Oh, that's great news. And yes, I'll definitely link your website and your social media here in the show notes. So wherever our listeners are tuning in on whatever platform, the links will be in the show notes, as well as on my website, wildyogatribe.com. Um, I'm glad you shared those, and they'll be linked, which is great. So also, Arti, before we close our episode together, I would love it if we could pretend that somebody had never heard of Suriname for just 1 minute, just pretend that it's a country they're completely unfamiliar with. How would you describe Suriname, and how would you explain kind of the yoga scene in Suriname?
Well, Lily, this is for me a very easy question because every day I meet people who have never heard of Suriname. And then I need to explain to them where Suriname is. So I have been doing this actually quite often. So, Suriname is a country in South America. We belong to the South America, and we are the only Dutch-speaking country in South America because every country in South America they speak Spanish, except for Suriname and our neighbor Guyana, who speak English, and our other neighbor French Guyana, who speak French. So we are the only three countries who are not Spanish countries. So we're in top of South America, in between Guyana, French Guyana, and Brazil. Those are my neighbors. And in the north, I have the Atlantic Ocean. Suriname is a beautiful country. There, we do not have winter or summer or harvests in Suriname. It's only we have like the sun or the rain. It's the sun or the rain, and now it's the sun, and it's very hot in Suriname. The temperature is 34 degrees, and we have five big cultures living in Suriname. So we have the people from India. Our ancestors came from India. I myself am a second generation of Indian grandparents. We have the people from China. We have the people from Indonesia. We have the people from Africa. And of course, we have the people from Europe living in Suriname. So, five big, big cultures. And all these cultures are living together. So, I know how to make Chinese food, Indonesian food. The Chinese people know how to make roti and all the Indian dishes. So we know from each other. And what unique is from this country is that it's very one unique thing that we have in this country, and that is that the mosque and the synagogue from the Jewish people and from the mosque, they are together. They are built together and they do their prayers together. That's one big very thing that we say about Suriname, and how the cultures live side by side celebrating each other's national holidays. So people in Suriname, you can see on Diwali that all the other cultures, they have respect for Diwali. That's where we light these little lamps for Lakshmi, the divine deity Lakshmi. So you will see that all the other cultures, they will celebrate it too. But when it's something from the Chinese people, you will see us celebrating that too, wearing their clothes too. So this is one uniqueness that we always tell about Suriname, how the different cultures live together and act as one family. And that is the nice thing, of course, about Suriname. And of course, we have this amazing tropical forest, and we actually have a very big forest, and we have all these wooden buildings in our sitting from 1800. It's a very historical city. We have influences here from the Dutch, but also from England. Although we speak Dutch, we drive on the left side according to England, the English people. So you will see all kinds of influences in Suriname. And that makes it a very nice country. We are very open. And when somebody comes to us, we always like, yes, you can stay at my house. We will cook for you. So we are very open to everybody, and that is how every Suriname people is.
Oh, that's beautiful. You described that so well. You make me want to book a plane ticket tomorrow.
Oh, please come, Lily. It would be very nice.
Oh, I will. One day, I know. Oh, it'd be so wonderful to meet you and to get to learn more from you, Arti. I think, as I said, you're a true Bhakta, and I feel very grateful to have met you and to have gotten the chance to interview you here on the Wild Yoga Tribe podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, Lily, I am the one who feels honored that you called me, because I don't know where you found me, but I am like, wow, she found me and she wants to interview. I've been telling it to my whole family and all my friends. I'm having a podcast interview with this lady, and I was so proud of it. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited to see where our friendship takes us in the future. Thank you again, Arti.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the Wild Yoga Tribe podcast with Arti from Paramaribo, Suriname. She is, as I've said during this episode, she seems to be a true Bhakta, and her devotion to her Guruji, Sri Ravi Shankar, is so gorgeous. And the way that she feels her Guru is speaking through her as she was transmitting these just beautiful words of wisdom and insight on the path of yoga and on the art of living. So I hope you found this informational and inspiring and touching, and make sure to reach out to Arti on her website or social media channels linked here below. Thank you again. I know your time is precious. I am so grateful you spent this time with us today. Thank you again, and be well. Feel like getting social? Connect with me and the Wild Yoga Tribe on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Head on over to thewildyogatribe.com to tap into some pretty awesome resources. Meditate with me on Insight Timer, a free app on Apple and Android devices, and join me for a yoga class on YouTube. Jazz up your week and get a bit of yoga in your life. Remember to hit subscribe so that you never miss an episode. And if you feel called, please share this episode with someone that you think could benefit from it. Leaving a review would also be so appreciated. Thank you again, dear listener, for being with me. May your day be light and bright. May you be peaceful and happy and led on the right path, free of suffering and free of sorrow. Be well, dear one. Be well.